Thanks for staying with us on The Real Story. Well, here in Hartford, like many communities across Connecticut, the flash flooding this past week caused some major issues. But this isn't new for many residents in the city. These are images of houses taking on water, streets flooded out. Are from Tuesday. But those in the North End have faced this reality for years, struggling with flooding, sewer backups, and the damage it leaves. They even met with federal agencies to try and get help, but state lawmakers have finally come up with some funding and solutions this past legislative session. They say they know it's long overdue. The state is putting $170 million toward the issue. Fox 61's political reporter Emma Wolfhorst is breaking down the details for us.
I really don't have any prospects for where I'm going to go. So it's very hard for me to realize that I'm technically homeless.
Sharon Lewis lives in the northeast area of Hartford. Her home flooded 6 months ago.
My house is full of mold. My furnace is not working. Water company turned the water off. Lights turned off. I can't even go back home because I can't repair my home.
Lewis says her neighborhood has been ignored when it comes to flooding and sewage issues, and Monday, state leaders acknowledged what they say is years of inequality.
There was sewage bubbling up in a basement in Guilford or Greenwich. They'd be getting that fixed overnight. Well, we're going to get it fixed right here on Granby Street and beyond.
The state is investing $170 million to address sewage overflows in streets and basements in North Hartford. State officials and lawmakers say residents there have been chronically impacted by sewer overflows for years.
It's gotten worse because as our climate has changed, the intensity of those storms has gone up, the frequency of those intense storms has gone up, and our infrastructure has only gotten older.
This money will fund 12 projects to increase protections from sewer and stormwater-related flooding and backups. 5 projects are slated to start this year, with 6 beginning in 2024 and 1 in 2025.
Our basement's been flooded ever since I was a child. And everybody passed the buck to the next person, to the next person, to the next person.
$73 million of this funding will also go toward a pilot program for private property infrastructure improvements on more than 3,500 homes.
I would be able to enjoy my residence and be able to plant my flower and go in part of my house and enjoy my basement without mud, water, and floods.
Now, the state budget signed earlier this month also creates a pilot grant program overseen by the state comptroller to provide support to Hartford's residents who've already been impacted by flood damage for things like repairs. Comptroller Scanlon says in a few weeks, once an administrator is appointed to the program, his office is planning a forum to help residents apply for that money. And speaking of funding, as of July 1st, Connecticut became the first state in the country to launch baby bonds. State funds were for the very youngest residents, or is for the very youngest residents. It's a newly launched program that we've talked about here on The Real Story that hopes to ensure every child grows up with opportunity regardless of a parent's resources or the zip code that they're born into. Any child whose birth is covered by Husky, the state's Medicaid program, will have $3,200 invested on their behalf by the state's treasurer's office. And the first baby to benefit has been born. Political reporter Emma Wolfhorst has that baby's story and more on the initiative.
At 1:25 p.m. July 1st at the Hospital of Central Connecticut, Nolan Asiel Osorio Ramirez was born, weighing 7 pounds, 13.6 ounces. At that moment, the Connecticut State Treasurer's Office invested $3,200 on behalf of Nolan for his future.
It's about building a future full of opportunity for everyone, regardless of what zip code you're born into or what resources your parents have.
Russell says as many as 15,000 children a year could benefit from baby bonds.
We can say yes to our children now, and we can say yes every single year.
Children in the program will be able to apply to receive the money once they turn 18. With a 6.9% assumed rate of return, this money could grow to nearly $11,000 per child by the time that child is able to access the funds.
We want Connecticut to be the state of opportunity. Baby bonds are investment and hope.
Russell says this money is to be used for things like buying a home, starting a business, paying for higher education, or rolling into a retirement savings account.
It is really setting a tone about our commitment to really invest in our long-term future.
Advocates and state officials say these bonds are meant to address generational poverty in Connecticut, saying this money will level the playing field and provide opportunities for young people.
Most kids don't have something to fall back on or to draw on when it's time for them to take that first step of trying to buy a home or start a business or go on with education. For most kids, that's unimaginable.
Now, this program is fully funded by the state for the next 12 years, and families don't need to do anything to be eligible for the Baby Bonds program. If their child's birth is covered by Husky, they are automatically enrolled. Well, that does it for us on The Real Story. If you want to watch these segments again, you can head to fox61.com or you can download the Fox 61 app and watch The Real Story every Sunday at 10 a.m. right here on Fox 61 or streaming on Fox 61 Plus. Have a great morning.